When the Ganwu universe country's internal selection had just ended, in another human universe country extremely far away from the Ganwu universe country, Savage Universe Country, the internal selection was still ongoing. Savage Universe Country, why it was named that way? It was because this universe country had two extremely terrifying human races, the Menka people and the Desolate God race. These two races were ranked in the top 10 of the human bloodlines in the universe. Even if they didn't train, they could easily become a strong domain lord once they matured. To be able to evolve their bloodlines to such a level, the ancestors of the Menka people and the Desolate God race naturally gave birth to many undyings. These two races had very few people, but they were the core of the entire Savage Universe country, the true royal families. There was once a sector lord who kidnapped a Menka child. After being discovered, the Menka people sent out a group of undyings to destroy the entire organization the sector lord was in, even killing the two undyings within the organization. As for the sector lord who dared to kidnap the child, he was tortured for millions of years, until the end of his lifespan before dying tragically. Daring to touch my Menka child, die. Daring to touch my Desolate God child, die. 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 The Menka people and Desolate God race, dying in battle was an honor to them. However, whoever dared to kidnap their child and use their bloodline, that was offending the entire race. The Menka planet was the home of the Menka people. The entire planet was moved to a vast god country. Within the Menka planet, in an oval-shaped castle, the guards at the entrance were all universe-level warriors. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Congratulations, Your Majesty. The two sector lords smiled as they looked at the youth casually sitting at the table and eating. This was a Menka youth. He had the traditional good looks of the Menka people. He wore a silver armor, black hair, his head lowered as he ate, mumbling, "What's there to congratulate? Isn't it just a spot? It's not that easy." The two sector lords looked at each other and smiled. "Your Majesty." The slightly fatter sector lord smiled. "The Ganwu universe country's internal selection has ended." Ganwu universe country? The Menka youth raised his head, creasing his eyebrows. "I've heard, Father said that the Ganwu universe country leader is very powerful. However, in the recent 100 genius battles, the Ganwu universe country hasn't produced any outstanding figures. This time there's one that needs attention." The fat sector lord said respectfully. "Oh, say it." The Menka youngster lowered his head again, quickly sweeping the food on the table. The two sector lords looked at each other and smiled. Their Highness had the Menka people's best tradition. Love to eat. Love to fight. Careless. However, even though the Menka people were careless, their brain regions were extremely wide, so they were still very smart. That was why they were able to join forces with the Desolate God race and lead the Desolate God universe country. "Your Majesty." The fat sector lord smiled. "The absolute genius from the Ganwu universe country is called Rong Jun. His attainments in the origin laws of Earth and space are extremely high, and he has already reached the level where he can leave behind illusory figures in space." Illusory body? The Menka youngster suddenly raised his head. "Right." The two sector lords nodded at the same time. "This is troublesome." The Menka youngster slammed the table and stood up. To be able to leave behind an illusion in space, this is not just a matter of explosive speed. Moreover, he even had accomplishments in the origin source law of Earth. With the two of them working together, his attack will definitely be very, very fierce and unstoppable. Yes. The two world overlords nodded. This Menka youngster was the most outstanding genius of the current Menka generation. Since he was young, he had received guidance from many undyings on the Menka planet. Hence his vision was extremely high. With just a little bit of information he could roughly guess the opponent's battle style and strength in his mind. Of course, even though they were called the most outstanding geniuses, in reality, the number of Menka youths who were still at the star level didn't even reach 1,000. "Your Majesty, according to the information we've gathered as well as our judgment, this youth called Rong Jun has the strength to charge into the top 10. And from the information we've gathered, he's been hiding his strength. Who knows, he might not even have used his full strength in the last battle." The fat sector lord continued. "He even said his goal is to be the universe's number 1. Top 10? Number 1? The Menka youngster stared. Why are they all so arrogant and their strength isn't bad? There are too many universe countries. 1008 universe countries, but these bunch of arrogant bastards, when the time comes, they'll all be swept away by me. Number 1 is mine." The two sector lords laughed. Their Majesty was filled with battle intent. However, this was after all a battle between all the geniuses of the universe. Geniuses with high bloodlines and those with weaker bloodlines, these races had huge populations. Picking one out of 10 billion or even 100 trillion, they were usually stronger than picking one out of these hundreds of youths. "Your Majesty, in the Ganwu universe country, other than Rong Jun, there's another called Luo Feng," the fat sector lord said. "Another one?" The Menka youngster stared. "No." The fat sector lord shook his head. "His strength is much weaker than Rong Jun's. However, what you need to take note of is, compared to 3 years ago, his strength has improved tremendously. We're guessing he has a certain chance of making it into the top 1,000, and he's extremely calm during battles. Who knows, he might even beat those stronger than him. Hence Your Majesty has to take note of him. Don't get careless." "I say, Uncle Fatty," the Menka youngster said helplessly, "a chance of making it into the top 1,000? Don't tell me about such people. There's no challenge at all, no threat at all. The universe's top 1,000, it's no problem for me. However, the top 1,000, from the first to the 1,000th, the treatment is different. My goal is to reach the heavens in one step, directly entering the highest core of the virtual universe company, the Primal Region. Hence I'll let you take note of those who can make it into the top 10. As for that, Luo Feng? Don't bother, I'll deal with him in one move. The two sector lords glanced at each other, smiling. Then we'll wait for your majesty to enter the Primal Region. In the vast universe, humanity was one of the pinnacle races, occupying an extremely large area. And at this time, within the 1008 universe countries, the internal selection of geniuses, many were still in progress. Many had already finished. The absolute geniuses ranked 1 and 2 in their respective universe countries, with a little bit of ability, were all gathering information on potential threats within the other universe countries. Ganwu universe country in a vast space. A giant stood in space, the space around him was completely warped. Within the warped space, it was impossible to discern his appearance. I'll let you all nurture the younger generation in the Ganwu secret region, selecting over 100 million geniuses from the entire universe countries, in the best places, under the best conditions. However, our universe country's final selection of the most outstanding ones were called Rong Jun and Luo Feng. They weren't nurtured by our Ganwu secret area. The voice rumbled, the surrounding space shook, almost as though it was about to shatter. The three white-robed undyings all bowed, their foreheads perspiring uncontrollably. You all, what use do you have? The thick voice was like a huge axe chopping down on the souls of the three undyings, causing their expressions to go pale, simultaneously kneeling down. To be able to nurture someone stronger than the Ganwu secret region, it also means that the two of them are outstanding. Especially Rong Jun to be ranked in the universe's top 10, that's a good thing. Let's hope he can enter the Primal Region to our Ganwu universe country. It'll be of great benefit in the future. The thick voice's anger had obviously decreased. Nurturing the younger generation has wasted a lot of your time. The three of you should first train well and raise your own strength. As for nurturing the younger generation, I'll arrange for others. The thick voice didn't have any obstructions in space, directly entering the ears and souls of the three undyings. Yes, country leader. The three of them replied respectfully. Go. At this time, the three undyings let out a sigh of relief and left respectfully. The 1,000 geniuses from the Ganwu universe country that qualified, they had a year and a half to rest. Of course none of them could relax. This year and a half, whether it was Rong Jun, Luo Feng or the geniuses nurtured by the Ganwu Emperor or Rong Jun, they were all working hard. Rong Jun wanted to become the strongest. Luo Feng was even more unwilling to return home after just one battle. As for the geniuses nurtured by the Ganwu Emperor, they were actually suppressed by Rong Jun and Luo Feng, who didn't have as good of a nurturing environment as them. Naturally they had to hold it in. All of them were fighting hard. I lost. Luo Feng, you lost again. I still lost. Alright, today's 3 battles with Rong Jun have ended. Within the Killing Fields desert, the little demon Babata waved his hand. Immediately savage Rong Jun, who was standing beside him, immediately vanished. This was the Rong Jun that was simulated within the Killing Fields. As for strength, intelligence and experience, they were naturally based on reality. Luo Feng stood in the desert frowning. I still lost. Luo Feng, don't be discouraged. You and Rong Jun, the main thing is that the difference in origin law comprehension is too huge. You've only comprehended the gold origin laws, even though you've improved quite a bit. However, that Rong Jun, his earth origin law comprehension isn't any lower than yours, his space origin laws are equally profound, the difference in strength is huge. It's no surprise that you lost. The little demon Babata said. Luo Feng nodded. The opponents simulated by the Killing Fields, their experience and intelligence could be set very high. That Rong Jun knew some of LuoFeng's moves, knowing himself and his opponent, he immediately won even more easily. His defense is too strong. The Earth origin laws, they originally focused on defense. Luo Feng exclaimed, and the space origin law comprehension, after merging into his domain, it made his control over the space around him even stronger. His defense, even when I control the 3 golden blades, I can't do anything to him. He was originally very confident. However, with just Rong Jun he had stumped himself. Right, Luo Feng, the Mosha Clansman should be born in another 3 days. The little demon said. Luo Feng's face revealed a look of anticipation. The Mosha clan was known as the strongest assassin clan in the universe, able to be considered the strongest amongst the countless human races in terms of assassination. Just a piece of skin after death could be sold for an astronomical price. One could only imagine how strong the Mosha Clansman was. Earth's Asia continent, China's Yangzhou city. Early in the morning, Luo Feng stepped on the dark cloud shuttle and became a golden beam of light, immediately disappearing into the east horizon. In the air above the East Ocean, Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and looked east, at the red sun that slowly rose from the horizon. This level 5 spirit weapon is indeed different from a level 3 spirit weapon. Luo Feng looked down at the dark cloud shuttle beneath his feet. This was bought during the last Ganwu auction. The Ganwu auction was held once every 3 years. The first one was at the end of year 2065 in China's time. He had spent quite a bit of money that time. And another one was held at the end of year 2068. At that time he was in the Losers Circle battles. Hence, he specially applied to rest for 10 days to participate in the auction. The Losers Circle battles were adjustable. As there were over 9,000 people, who knows what might happen in the next 3 years. Hence, the number of battles was more flexible. In theory, there should be 100 battles in those 10 days. Back then he had discussed with his opponents and they all agreed. Only then did the organizers agree to his application. giving him the chance to participate in the auction. 1 dark cloud shuttle, 2 units of the water ku fruit, I only spent 1 mixed element. Luo Feng exclaimed, luckily I have my brother's investment. During the 2065 auction, due to buying the Mosha Clansman skin, the Nanshan armament and the water ku fruit, he had a few $100 billion universe dollars left, not even enough for 1 mixed element. These 3 years he hadn't earned much. Luckily when the last auction ended, his brother had over 2 trillion universe dollars. After 3 years of operation, even though he had fallen a few times, he still had 6 mixed elements. In 3 years he had earned close to 200% profit. The more money he had, the harder it was to earn. Even many large organizations, even the investment departments of the Universe First Bank and Universe Galaxy Bank, had invited his brother Luo Hua. I earn it myself, I make all my own decisions, how awesome is that? To go to those departments, I still have to listen to the higher-ups, how troublesome. I'm not going. This was what his brother Luo Hua said to him. Stepping on the dark cloud shuttle, he stood in the air above the East Ocean. I still don't have enough money. Luo Feng thought, the Golden Horned Beast, Cloud Contact Vine and even the Mosha Clansman. They all require large amounts of money to nurture. And my main body too requires money. In theory, the Golden Horned Beast should be Luo Feng's main body. However, subconsciously, Luo Feng still used the Earth human body as his main body. The Golden Horned Beast was currently at the universe level. Just the metal it swallowed wasn't expensive. The Golden Horned Beast was now at the universe level. Just the metal it swallowed wasn't expensive. The higher the Cloud Contact Vine, the harder it was to evolve. Right now, the effects of the billowing water fruit were very good, but as the Cloud Contact Vine became stronger, the money invested was also a bottomless pit. Back then, Huyen Bo had paid a terrifying price for his Cloud Contact Vine to reach the immortal level. Mosha Clansman knew very little. Luo Feng's Earth body, just the Nanshan armament, the Dark Cloud shuttle and the nutrition cabin alone had already invested a huge amount of money. And this was only for the star level. As one's horizons increased in the future, the cost would probably be even more shocking. Luo Feng had seen some of the universe's absolute treasures in the auction. One of them was worth a few thousand mixed elements. Babata couldn't even be bothered to tell Luo Feng about these treasures. Golden Horned Beast, Universe Level 7. Cloud Contact Vine, Universe Level 6. My main body? Star Level 9. Luo Feng thought, from now on my main body will stop training. The Golden Horned Beast required 15 years to go from the Universe Level 1 to 3. From the 4 to 6, each level required 20 years, a total of 60 years. And the 7, 8 and 9 levels each required 120 years. As for the Universe Level 9 to step into the Domain Lord level, it required 500 years. The entire Universe level process would normally take close to 1,000 years. From the time he stepped into the Universe Level 6 in 2055 to now October 2059, it had already been about 4 years. Relying on the best metal combination to absorb energy from the internal space, the efficiency reached 56 times, comparable to 224 years. And Luo Feng needed 240 years to step into the 7 and 8 levels. That's. Right now he was only at the Universe Level 7. Just a little bit more to reach the Universe Level 8. As for the Cloud Contact Vine, it was already a Universe Level 2 in the world within a world. And back then it had some life fruit energy that hadn't been completely digested. Along with over 100 of the billowing water fruits, it had long grown to the Universe Level 6. It was just that the difficulty of going from Level 6 to 7 was huge. It's about to be born. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Rumble. A black triangular ship suddenly appeared in the sky. Luo Feng stepped on the dark cloud shuttle and swiftly entered the ship. After which the ship accelerated and rushed into the sky, passing through the atmosphere and leaving Earth, heading towards Mars. Solar system, Mars surface, in a huge crater the universe ship landed within. Within the resting room of the ship. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged, his consciousness completely entering the internal world. Within the internal world, that vast golden continent that was surrounded by golden mist. The golden horned beast that was more than 10 miles long was currently raising its head, a pair of dark golden eyes looking at the golden egg in the sky. It's about time. The golden horned beast's cold eyes had a sense of anticipation. The already incredibly thin golden egg suddenly cracked open and fell from mid-air, revealing an extremely peculiar black crystal. This crystal had a total of 10,081 sides. At the same time every surface had incomparably complicated golden engravings. The golden engravings had completely assimilated into the entire crystal. This was the core of the Mosha Clansman. The life crystal. Up here. A low roar resounded throughout the entire golden continent. Hoo. Streams of black energy swiftly flowed out of the life crystal and quickly condensed into a naked yellow-skinned, black-haired man. It was the naked Luo Feng, exactly the same as Luo Feng himself. Mars sand filled the sky on the surface. The dark red armored Luo Feng and the black armored Luo Feng, along with the mountain-like huge golden horned beast, were all on the surface. Interesting. The two LuoFengs and the golden horned beast exchanged glances. As for the true life core, it could instantly appear within the body or within the golden horned beast or within the Mosha Clansman. Return. The golden horned beast vanished, leaving behind only the two LuoFengs. Return. The dark red armored Luo Feng vanished. Return. The black clothed Luo Feng vanished too. The three of them entered the internal world, leaving behind a transparent crystal ball in the outside world. On the surface of the crystal ball were incomparably complicated golden engravings, emitting a golden light. So, the black-clothed Luo Feng appeared. The life crystal alone in the outside world isn't very safe. The black-clothed Luo Feng thought. As for this Mosha Clansman, transform. The black-clothed Luo Feng seemed to transform like the energy flow, swiftly transforming into the tall savage Rong Jun, and then transforming again, becoming a golden horned beast that was only 10 m long. Then a thick willow tree and finally the black-clothed Luo Feng. Energy life forms are indeed special. Luo Feng smiled. This Mosha Clansman was an energy life form. It didn't have a fixed appearance, it could change at will. Of course, if one wanted to transform into a 30 kilometers tall giant, with a body defense comparable to a universe level 2, the energy consumption would be very high. Hence normally one would try not to change too much. The Mosha Clansman is known as the strongest assassin clan. So it's because of this. Luo Feng felt the difference between the Mosha Clansman and the other bodies. The favored child of space, it's indeed not fake. When he had the third body, the Mosha Clansman, Luo Feng naturally knew of the Mosha Clansman's natural abilities. Natural abilities? Copy. In terms of life form, the Mosha Clansman was completely different from humans and golden horned beasts. Humans and golden horned beasts were at least flesh and blood life forms. However, the Mosha Clansman was an energy life form. It didn't even have a soul. To be more precise, the life crystal was its soul and its source of energy. The Mosha Clansman wasn't afraid of spirit attacks. At the same time they were unable to unleash spirit attacks, much less control objects. Hence the Mosha Clansman walked the path of a fighter. And the natural abilities, copy, allowed the Mosha Clansman to copy the target's life energy, soul energy, etc. Their bodies could freely transform, and the moment they used this ability to copy the target's soul energy, then they would become an undying being, unless one used spirit energy to drill into their body to check. Otherwise, from the outer appearance and energy, one wouldn't be able to discover the Mosha Clansman's disguise. This was no longer a disguise. It was a copy. You wouldn't be able to imagine the grandson you doted on so much had actually become a Mosha Clansman assassin. This seemingly simple natural ability, however, made the Mosha Clansman the most terrifying assassin clan in the entire universe. They were able to transform into any form of life form, able to disguise any life energy or soul energy. Of course, if the opponent was suspicious from the start and used spirit energy to drill into their body, naturally they would be exposed. Favored by space. How peculiar. Luo Feng could feel the Mosha Clansman, it could faintly feel the ripples in the surrounding space. And the earth-human body, the golden horned beast, couldn't feel it at all. Absolute space. Luo Feng fiercely unleashed his movement. Simultaneously the black crystal with 10,081 facets began to revolve, the complicated golden engravings on its surface began to ripple, almost as though it was responding to the ripples of the universe space. Shwa. On the desert of Mars, 2 LuoFengs immediately appeared, after which, 3 LuoFengs, 4 LuoFengs, 5 LuoFengs. Luo Feng stopped. It's too peculiar, too peculiar. The Mosha Clansman's flying and dodging are too easy, it's simply unbelievable. LuoFeng's face was filled with shock. My comprehension of absolute space is very little. These 3 years I can only be considered to have touched the entrance of the space origin laws. However, I'm not even at the entry level. But even though my comprehension is very little, using the Mosha Clansman to unleash it, its speed is even faster and stranger. I can even feel the ripples in space. Luo Feng was shocked. Switch. The Mosha Clansman vanished, dark red armored Luo Feng appeared. The earth-human body, Luo Feng looked around, there was no longer that peculiar feeling from before, everything had become very normal. This Mars was still Mars, the universe was still the universe, there was no longer that wonderful feeling of space ripples from before. Luo Feng unleashed his movement, it was unpredictable and shockingly fast. However, that was it was unable to distort the space to create illusions. It feels like the Mosha Clansman in space is like a fish in water. Luo Feng thought. A human's swimming speed in water definitely couldn't compare to his running speed on land. And a fish's jumping speed on land definitely couldn't compare to its speed in water. One theory. The Mosha Clansman was naturally favored by the space origin laws. In the universe space, they were like fish in water. Even if their comprehension was low, the Mosha Clansman's movement would be many levels higher. Sick. Luo Feng couldn't help but exclaim. Of course they are hailed as the strongest assassin race. Energy life, flesh and blood life, machine life, metal life, plant life, etc. There are trillions of different life forms, to be able to be hailed as the strongest assassin race amongst the countless races. Is that a joke? Babata said, natural ability? Copy, even though it's just a natural ability. However, in truth, the most sick thing about the Mosha Clansman is, they can feel the ripples in space. They are naturally compatible with the space origin laws. This allows them to unleash space-related techniques, their power greatly increases. At the same time, comprehending the space laws is much easier than humans. Hence any Mosha Clansman has already stepped through the doorway of the space laws. Their movements are peculiar, with thousands of changes. They can transform into any person, any form. Because their disguise is perfect, their attacks are strong too. If their attack fails, they can immediately escape. The most important thing is it's not just one clansman, all of them are strong. Hence, they are hailed as the strongest assassin race. Babata said. LuoFeng took a deep breath. No wonder. The Mosha Clansman's damaged skin was so expensive. The Mosha Clansman's normal transformations didn't have engravings on the surface. And when they were killed, most of them died from their cores shattering, their bodies dissipating, leaving behind only the damaged cores and no skin would appear. There was only one circumstance that would cause the origin of space runes in the life crystal core to appear on the skin. Those were indeed true engravings infused with the space origin laws, hence the skin was incomparably expensive. However, in the genius battle, I can only use the body given by the virtual universe to battle. And I can't use the Mosha Clansman. Luo Feng thought. Right now it's October, there's less than a year left till the Pinnacle Battle between the 1008 universe countries. What you can do now is to use the Mosha Clansman to imitate the golden horned beast form, and then study the absolute space technique. Babata said the training process of the absolute space technique was only suitable for the golden horned beast form. Of course, with the comprehension of the space laws, all the clansmen could use it. After all, it was the same consciousness. Achum. Luo Feng nodded. Less than a year. Luo Feng took a deep breath. Right, Babata? I should be able to use the Mosha Clansman to retrieve the bank account my teacher left me. There was a huge difference in the amount of funds in these three accounts. The largest was the account that could be obtained when one became a region lord. That account contained all the remaining funds from the teacher's 5-star account. I'm sorry I can't. Babata said. My Mosha Clansman is universe level 2. Luo Feng couldn't help but say. No, Luo Feng, you forgot. The 3 accounts your teacher left behind don't just require strength. At the same time, you must open the account in the real world, and when you open the account, you need to test your psychic power. It must be the psychic power of the UNMO planet, only then can you open the account. Babata said. Luo Feng frowned. The Mosha Clansman is my clone, it can easily use my spirit energy. Wrong. The Mosha Clansman is an energy life form, its true form is that life crystal core. It doesn't have any telekinesis power, how could it have yours? Babata said. Ah. Luo Feng was stunned. It didn't matter if they were humans, monsters, or even the giant star beast. Even if he walked the path of physical combat, he still had his soul and mind power. Telekinesis was a part of the soul, but energy life forms were different in terms of life form. Their core was the life crystal core and they did not have any telekinesis. Another example would be mechanical lives. They were all artificial intelligence lives and did not have psychic powers. Therefore, back then on the UNMO planet ship, including the UNMO planet master Hu Yenbo and his undying servants all died. But Babata didn't die because Babata was an AI. Life forms were different and even their lifespans were different. Even if AIs were not undying, they could still continue to live, just like that Lord Wu. Damn. Luo Feng shook his head. I thought. How disappointing. Luo Feng was helpless. You bastard, don't take it for granted. Babata said, one of your bodies is the golden horned beast, one of the pinnacle bloodlines in the universe. Another doppelganger was from the Mosha clan, known as the strongest assassin clan. You've taken advantage of me. Why are you still disappointed? I didn't expect you to have such a freakish doppelganger. Ha, Luo Feng laughed. The golden horned beast, Mosha clan, they were all extremely rare in the universe. Many undying had never seen it before. For Luo Feng to be able to get these 2 bodies, he had a huge advantage. Alright, let's continue practicing flying. Luo Feng smiled, becoming a beam of light and flying into the deep pit on the surface of Mars in the universe ship. After entering the ship, his consciousness connected to the virtual universe network. Virtual universe, Black Dragon Mountain Island Slaughter Space. Up here. The little demon Babata waved his hand, and suddenly the space around him changed, and a large mechanical factory appeared. Inside the factory, there were all kinds of mechanical traps that had been prepared for a long time. At a glance, the entire factory looked like a beehive, densely packed with traps. If one were to fly around the factory, they would easily trigger the traps. This is the test for the first level of the 10,000 thread stream, the single thread stream. Babata pointed at the mechanical plant in front of him that looked like an inescapable net. If you can get your hands on all 3,189 red balls in the plant without being hit by the attacks of these mechanical devices, then you'll be considered to have reached the first line stream. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. Yes. Ever since he lost the battle with Rong Jun, Luo Feng realized that as a powerful spirit reader controller, he had to be very good at flying. A person's energy was limited, it wasn't very possible to be both a spirit reader and a fighter. Normally they would focus on one. Naturally they would spend their energy on this, and naturally they would value flying. There were battle techniques. There were hypnotist battle techniques like the soul imprint battle techniques. There were controller battle techniques, actually the Nanshan armament's 9 levels were a type of training technique. Defense, there were defense techniques too. Like the void pagoda of the soul and body defense, one could rely on weapons or armor. As for movement, a fighter's dodging and maneuvering techniques too. Spirit readers stepping on spirit weapons to fly too had their own techniques. Even to the point, even beast taming, body stealing, enslaving, cloning, etc., there were all sorts of mysterious techniques. There were only so many so-called origin laws, but origin laws were equivalent to cultural knowledge. By understanding the same cultural knowledge, some people would be able to achieve success and fame, while others would fade into obscurity. One theory. This technique was to unleash the origin law's power to the fullest. The Nanshan armament could unleash the Origin Law's battle power. Soul Imprint was also possible. Void Pagoda was also possible. Absolute Space was also possible. 10,000 Threads was also possible. Back when he was defeated by Rong Jun, Luo Feng first followed Babada's suggestion, choosing the level 5 spirit weapon Dark Cloud Shuttle. Then he chose the secret technique of the Spirit Reader flying technique, 10,000 Thread Flow. His teacher, the master of the Unimo planet as a powerful spirit reader, knew quite a few flying techniques. However, Luo Feng's choice was different from his teacher's. Back then, the master of the Unimo planet, Huyen Bo, trained in the flying technique space control. In terms of technique power, there was no difference between the two. In terms of rarity, the space control flying technique was even rarer, and the 10,000 Threads technique was more widespread. Many Undyings knew about it. However, being widespread didn't mean its power was weak. This 10,000 Threads technique, from what Babada said, why do I feel like it's very similar to Absolute Space? Luo Feng asked Babada this back then. Babada replied, it is very similar. Your Absolute Space's second level, Infinite Changes, is equivalent to the 10,000 Threads highest level, and the 10,000 Threads legends say that there's an even higher level of teleportation. However, no one knows the training method. Absolute Space was divided into 3 levels. The first level was Arc Light, the second level was Myriad Changes, and the third level was Teleportation. The 10,000 Threads technique split. The first level, Thread, was comparable to the first level of Absolute Space, Arc Light. The second level, 9 threads. The third level, 100 threads. The fourth level, 10,000 threads. At this point, it was comparable to the second level of Absolute Space, Infinite Changes. Legends say that there's still the highest level of teleportation. However, at least the techniques that were spread around didn't have the final training method. This was also the reason why Babada was so shocked when he found out that Absolute Space actually had a complete training method for teleportation. After all, the path of comprehending the origin laws was very difficult. With a clear path, it would save a lot of time and energy. A precious technique, even if someone was willing to teach it, the most precious part was still infinitely precious. Alright, what you said makes sense. This 10,000 thread technique and my Absolute Space technique walk the same path. Even though the training method is different, the path is the same. Comparing the two, I'll be able to train with twice the results with half the effort. This is it. Luo Feng chose this flying technique just like that. After 3 years, Luo Feng had long passed the 10,000 threads basic training. Stepping on the Dark Cloud Shuttle, flying was already perfect. However, he still didn't succeed in the first level, 1 thread. Chi. A steel wire touched Luo Feng's back. Chi. 3 nails shot out, one of them touched Luo Feng's calf. Fail. Babada shouted. From the sky full of weapons, Luo Feng became a peculiar image, immediately flying back to Babada's side, shaking his head. The 1 thread test is too difficult. If I used the Mosha Clansman, I would be able to easily dodge. Luo Feng smiled. 1. The Virtual Universe Company provides the same body. 2. The Mosha Clansman is an energy life form, not a human. They have no way of participating in the genius battle. The little demon raised 2 fingers. I'll give you a suggestion. Return to reality now. Let the Mosha Clansman transform into the Golden Horned Beast and train Absolute Space. Luo Feng nodded. Solar System, Mars surface. The black clothed Luo Feng within the red sandstorm that engulfed the land and skies, immediately transforming. His entire being was like the energy flow, becoming a 12 m long golden horned beast. His appearance was exactly the same as the real golden horned beast. This size could only be described as a golden horned beast infant. Within his body, the 10,081 black nuclei slightly revolved. On it, incomparably complex golden engravings faintly resonated with space. It's too beautiful, this feeling. The little golden horned beast's eyes were filled with excitement. It could clearly feel the ripples in space. It was so familiar, so beautiful, as though it had returned to its mother's embrace. Let's begin. Rumble. The little golden horned beast immediately followed Absolute Space's instructions and began to train. Its scaled wings, claws and tail all had to be used, especially its long tail. It could easily make minute changes in direction. 2 golden horned beasts. 3, 4, 5. Little golden horned beasts appeared all around. In a short while, 9 little golden horned beasts appeared. This golden horned beast's body structure is indeed the most suitable for Absolute Space training. This Mosha Clansman, when in human form, can only unleash 5 clones. And when in the golden horned beast form, it can unleash 9. The little golden horned beast was completely immersed in Absolute Space training. This technique was created by an ancestor of the golden horned beast. It was specially created and modified for the golden horned beast. Humans can't even train it, because it has no tail, no wings. How beautiful. Immersed in Absolute Space training, the little golden horned beast's understanding of the space origin laws was almost within reach. Time passed day by day. The golden horned beast trained and comprehended the gold origin laws, while the Mosha Clansman transformed into the little golden horned beast to train in Absolute Space. And LuoFeng's main body merged the training of the 2 great bodies into one. Working hard on studying the Nanshan armament, training hard on the 10,000 thread flying technique. Under such high-efficiency training, LuoFeng's strength seemed to rise every day. November, December, January. Finally, it was China year 2070, September, and the entire human race of the 1008 universe countries had gathered over 1 million geniuses. The Pinnacle Battle was held in this month. China year 2070, September 5th. Early in the morning, Luo Feng stood on his balcony, looking at the red sun that had just revealed half its face in the east. Even though it was summer, the morning was still rather cool. Early in the morning on the balcony watching the sun rise. Dressed in a nightgown, Su Xan walked up too. She looked at the current Luo Feng. This man before her, even though his reputation on earth had reached the pinnacle, he still spent almost all of his energy on the path of a strong warrior. Regarding this, Su Xan wasn't dissatisfied at all. She knew what was important. Only occasionally she would feel a little sour within because sometimes when Luo Feng went all out in his training, he would go into closed-door training for 10 days to half a month. Of course. Normally Luo Feng cared a lot about his family. Right? Luo Feng looked at the distant rising sun in the east, smiling and nodding. These few days you've been spending all your time on your training, it's almost like you haven't seen the sunrise in a long time. Su Xan said, sometimes you should relax a little, don't tire yourself out. Luo Feng looked at his wife, extending his hand and gently hugging her, saying softly, my wife, I'm sorry. We're already an old couple, why are you so mushy? Su Xian's face flushed red. Hee hee. Luo Feng laughed. Tomorrow the battle will begin. Luo Feng looked at the distant rising sun, exclaiming, that's 1,000,000 geniuses from the many universe countries, according to the Ganwu universe country situation. Of these 1,000,000 geniuses, over half have stepped through the gateway of the origin laws. In the Battle Axe Coliseum, universe-level warriors that had stepped through the gateway of the origin laws were considered invincible. However, in truth, in the universe, there were many star levels that had stepped through the gateway. The entire human race, these absolute geniuses numbered in the hundreds of thousands. However, with 1,008 universe countries on average, each country had a few hundred of them. The Ganwu universe country leader even ordered an Undying to specially invite these absolute geniuses to the Ganwu secret area. One could only imagine how precious these seedlings were. These absolute geniuses, how could they be sent to the Battle Axe Coliseum to risk their lives? That way the chances of them dying were too high. Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-Star Bay District. Dad, do your best. Two extremely similar-looking youths looked at Luo Feng, their gazes were filled with worship. This pair of twins were Luo Feng's sons, Ping Ping and Little Hai. In terms of age they were already 11 years old. As they had been nurtured well since young, they were already at the Student 9 level when they were kids, and had already stepped into the Star Traveler level. This allowed their physical development to be comparable to that of an ordinary 14 or 15-year-old teenager on Earth. In terms of appearance he had inherited Su Xian's good points and was very handsome. He wasn't as normal as Luo Feng. Among them the elder brother Luo Ping had a better temper and a gentle personality. He had changed a lot since he was young. Luo Hai on the other hand was very noisy. However, because they grew up in such a family, their tutors were Di Fan and Bai Kaluo, these two universe level 9 warriors. Bai Kaluo received Luo Feng's Yun-Mo planet training techniques and broke through to the universe level 9 last year. The guards and servants in the house were all star levels. Along with Luo Feng's glory, Luo Ping and Luo Hai worshipped their father since they were young. He was proud to have such a father. Growing up in such a family, although Luo Ping and Luo Hai's personalities were slightly different, they had one thing in common. They wanted to become strong. What was special was that these two brothers loved to battle in virtual reality games since they were young. Even though they later awakened their spirit energy, their talent was weaker than Luo Feng's. However, the two of them chose to become fighters. This made their father Luo Feng feel helpless. Daddy is the strongest. Little Hai shouted loudly. Haha. Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. 30, do your best. Thunder God who was standing beside waved his fist and shouted, you don't just represent the Ganwu universe country, more importantly, you represent the people of Earth. Well said. Luo Hongguo nodded and shouted, his face filled with joy, Little Feng, your second brother is right, you also represent the people of Earth. Even though there are trillions of life planets in the universe countries with 1,008 universe countries added together, it's even more shocking. However, you have to do your best to fight for the people of Earth. Luo Feng nodded. In their hearts, whether it was Thunder God Hong or Luo Feng, their sense of belonging to Earth was even stronger. I'll head out first. Luo Feng immediately took big steps and left. In the various continents and islands of the virtual universe, over 1,000,000 absolute geniuses from the 1,008 universe countries were teleporting to the various gathering points of the universe countries. On a floating island in the air above the Ganwu continent. Shwa. Luo Feng appeared on the teleportation point of the floating island. Mr. Luo Feng, please walk this way. Standing beside the teleportation point was a universe-level warrior dressed in work uniform, smiling as he pointed to a path beside him. Thank you. Luo Feng smiled and nodded, following the path and walking. After a while, Luo Feng saw that not too far away, in a plaza surrounded by beautiful flowers and grass, there was a large group of people gathered. With just a glance, there were a few hundred of them, both men and women, all of different looks. However, at least a third of them looked closer to the people of Earth, as the people of Earth were considered the mainstream in the universe. Luo Feng is here. That madman. Many young men and women looked over. These few hundred people had all obtained a spot. This time the Ganwu universe country was sending out 1,000 geniuses. Luo Feng. Hi, madman. Among these people there were many who smiled and greeted Luo Feng. As he had participated in the loser's circle battles, hence Luo Feng had fought one-on-one with over 200 of them. Windmill. Pate Luo. Luo Feng too greeted a few he was on good terms with. As time passed, more and more geniuses arrived, more and more people arrived. And Savage Rong Jun was considered to have arrived a little later. Finally all 1,000 geniuses had gathered. These 1,000 stood together, many of them knew each other in real life or from battles, chatting and reminiscing. "LuoFeng, your strength has risen quite a bit this year, I know you've improved a lot." The savage youth Rong Jun gazed at LuoFeng. LuoFeng turned and glanced at the 3M tall savage. "When the pinnacle duels begin, you'll know once you try." "That confident?" Savage's eyes gleamed. Suddenly, rumble. A formless pressure enveloped the entire plaza. The 1,000 absolute geniuses all went pale, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. After which, following the footsteps, a giant dressed in a scale armor and helmet walked over. His natural aura was like that of a death god descending. Carrying with it a thick bloodthirsty aura, it made one feel fear. A giant with a height of over 8 m. It was that being from before. "The 1,000 geniuses of the Ganwu universe country, according to the country leader's orders, I'll be leading them." The giant's voice rumbled. Under the helmet his eyes gave off an immense pressure. "You all can call me Lord 13, understand?" "Understood." The 1,000 absolute geniuses all replied in unison, including Luo Feng. What a terrifying pressure. LuoFeng's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. In real life his willpower pressure could definitely cause my soul to collapse in an instant. Fear. The 1,000 geniuses, before this scale armor giant, were as weak as ants. Naturally they would feel fear. This was pure instinct. No matter how strong one's willpower was, there was no way to suppress such instincts. Rong Jun. The scale armor giant's gaze landed on Savage Rong Jun, Lord 13. Savage Rong Jun bowed. "You are the only one from our Ganwu universe country with a guarantee of not being eliminated. The country leader has high hopes for you. You don't disappoint him, understand?" The scale armor giant said. "Yes." Savage replied respectfully. The scale armor giant swept his gaze across the other youths, saying coldly, "As for the others, they have no hope." Immediately within the group of youths, many clenched their fists. Luo Feng within the group too creased his eyebrows. "Don't be unconvinced, strength isn't just words, it has to be displayed in battle." The scale armor giant said coldly, "Other than Rong Jun, the strongest amongst you all is only at LuoFeng's level. However, according to our intelligence, there are many rare geniuses in this batch. LuoFeng being able to make it into the top 5,000 is already not bad. To make it into the top 1,000, the chances are very slim. Of course. You all can create miracles too. In history there have been some who were average at the start, but in the end they suddenly exploded in the pinnacle battles, absolute geniuses." The scale armor giant swept his gaze across the large group, after which he changed the topic. "Alright, follow me," and set off. This group of absolute geniuses from the various starfields of the Ganwu universe country could only bear with it. After which, Luo Feng and the 1,000 geniuses, under the lead of the scale armor giant, simultaneously teleported to a brand new plane opened in the virtual universe. This was a vast continent. Luo Feng and the others, including the leader of the scale armor giant, a total of 1,001 people simultaneously appeared on this continent. Ganwu universe country team, there are 1,008 skyscrapers ahead. Your universe country team has been arranged to stay in skyscraper 0825. A middle-aged man dressed in a white robe respectfully bowed towards the scale armor giant. The scale armor giant snorted through his nose, after which he led the team and flew into the distance. Wah! 1,008 skyscrapers, a universe country team staying in one skyscraper? Looking from afar, the distant 1,008 skyscrapers naturally formed a ring, and in the center of the ring was a beautiful plaza filled with birdsong and fragrant flowers. In that beautiful plaza, there were many youths from various universe countries casually strolling and chatting. With a glance, there were at least 100,000 people. Land. The scale armor giant's voice rumbled. The Ganwu universe country's genius team swiftly landed, landing at the edge of the plaza, following the path and heading towards skyscraper 0825. The plaza had a special pathway to every single skyscraper. "Look, that skyscraper 0825 belongs to the Ganwu universe country. Looks like it's a genius team from the Ganwu universe country. Rong Jun, that tall savage is Rong Jun. His strength is very strong." "Which one is Rong Jun?" "Rong Jun." Many geniuses from the other universe countries looked at the Ganwu universe country team from afar and began to discuss.